What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and recently some of you have reached out to the channel asking me what is my favorite way to run with Ridgeways Pride. As most of you know by now, there are so many different ways you can run with a piece like this, therefore today I wanted to show you one of my favorites. Now if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, and remember we are currently having a giveaway for an Xbox Series S. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe here or follow on Twitter, and the winner will be announced on April 4th of this year. Now for those of you that may not have this chess pieces yet, I'm going to leave a link to a farming video on how to get it in the description down below. Now it is a bit of a grind to pick up, however you can see from this footage you are absolutely shredding NPCs. One thing I like to mention at the beginning of any build video I put together is I want to remind new and returning players that this is just a template. This is one of so many different ways you can run with a build like this, and what I mean by that is you may take a look at the build and decide you want a different specialization, or you need a little more armor, or maybe a little less, you want more weapon damage. So again, take your time, try out different variations, and truly make this build your own. As far as the footage goes, you can see I'm on floor 90 of the Summit Heroic difficulty, and I'm absolutely melting NPCs. Now, it does take a minute to get the timing of your kills down, because it does vary depending on when you have your shield deployed and when you don't. However, this for me happens to be my favorite Summit build, because since you're always in close quarters, you're just shredding everyone in front of you. I also use this build for certain bounties, territory controls, missions that I'm comfortable with, and as always, I'm starting off with a little bit of game footage, then we're going to get into the build itself, and then at the end of the video I'll go over a little more game footage, and at that point I also like to pass along a few tips to new and returning players that should hopefully help you out anytime you're trying out a new build. So starting off with the specialization, I'm using Firewall so I can use the Striker Shield, which gives me a weapon damage bonus. Now another great option is obviously Gunner, and remember, regardless of which specialization you choose, you want to have the proper weapons active in your weapon skill tree. That way you're getting a 15% weapon damage bonus no matter what weapon you have equipped. My primary weapon for this build is a God-rolled Vector that I got a while back, and honestly, I can't put this weapon down. You know, I have the option of re-rolling the talent depending on the build I'm running, and since I'm using Ridgeways Pride, I'm using the talent Sadist, where you're going to deal 20% weapon damage to bleeding enemies. After 4 kills, it applies bleed to the next enemy you hit, which doesn't really matter because with Ridgeways Pride, every enemy you shoot is going to have that bleed effect. For my secondary weapon, I have an assault rifle equipped with the same talent. As far as my handgun goes, I really don't touch that. It's the TDI card with close and personal. Now onto the gear itself, you can see I'm running 4 Hunter's Fury, Ridgeways Pride, and 1 Golan. Now I personally think that Hunter's Fury is still one of the best gear sets without a doubt in the game, especially for run and gun builds, and as you can see by the gear set talents, 2-piece gives you 15% shotgun and SMG damage, 3-piece is 20% armor on kill and 100% health on kill, and the 4-piece is Apex Predator. Enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your weapon damage against them by 20%, killing a debuffed enemy with your weapon disorients other enemies within 5 meters, and amplifies weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Moving on to the body armor, obviously it's Ridgeways Pride, and the reason it's so effective is because of the talent Bleeding Edge. Shooting enemies within 15 meters applies bleed to the target. Repair 3 through 48% of your armor per second for every enemy that is bleeding within 15 meters. Next we have the holster, the knee pads, and the gloves, which are the 3 remaining pieces of the Hunter's Fury gear set. Now for these, what I'm trying to do on most of the pieces is stack crit hit chance and crit hit damage. And in regards to my core attribute, this is where you may have options. You may want to, re-roll weapon damage to armor or the other way around, depending on how you like to run with the build. Again, try out different variations and see which works best for your gameplay. Last but not least, we have the backpack, and this is where, again, you have a lot of different options to choose from. I've just gone to the named version of the Golan bag, the Anarchist Cookbook, because it gives you Perfectly Wicked, where applying a status effect increases total weapon damage by 18% for 27 seconds. However, if you do not have the named bag and you do not have Perfectly Wicked, just take a piece of Walker and Harris or a piece of Sokolov and roll the talent Wicked onto one of those if you can, because the only thing that's different between Wicked and and perfectly wicked. It's that the weapon damage is exactly the same. It's the duration of the weapon damage. And to be honest with you, you are getting through NPCs so quickly, sometimes you do not need that extra 7 seconds. As far as my skills are concerned, I'm running with the striker shield so I get that weapon damage increase, and I also have the assault drone because it is a great distraction to NPC and it puts out damage as well. Now this is the part in the video where I like to pass along a few tips to new and returning players to help you get started. And one of the first things I always recommend is anytime you are going to try a new build, something you haven't tried before, go to a mission or control point that you're familiar with. That way you can truly see how the build responds to your gameplay. And the main reason I do that is going to help me determine whether a build is working right for my style of gameplay. And obviously you can go to the shooting range, you can see the type of damage you're putting out, but that's not going to really reflect what you're going to do when you're actually playing the game itself. So again, go to those missions, go to those control points, go to those bounties where you know the timing of the NPCs so you can get a better read of what is working for you. I mean, there are times, for instance, where I go from one build to another, and because my time to kill is so different between those two builds, I wind up letting go of the trigger before I should because I think, here we go, the NPC's about to go down, I can reload at this point, and then, they're not dead, so they wind up taking me out or things get sideways. So again, do not copy and paste. Really take your time putting something together. Don't just have one version, have different variations of a build, some with higher armor, some with more weapon damage. And again, the most important thing is really catering it towards your style of gameplay. Most of you know by now that one of my favorite aspects about putting these build videos together is the amazing community we have here at the channel. So as always, if you have any different ways you like to run with this build, if you have any tips or tricks, please let me know in the comments section down below, as the main goal here is to help out gamers in any way we can. As always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for the incredible support you continue to show me at this channel. I mean, I cannot wait until we get new content, new builds, new gear, new weapons, all that good stuff. But again, thank you so much for taking the time being here. It sincerely means the world. On that note, I'm going to let the rest of the video play out. However, as I mentioned at the beginning of this thing, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well. But most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
Enemy too close! Jump on camera again. The holding area is just ahead. Once you find that laptop, grab it and get the hell out of there.